Hello everyone, welcome to Deepti's biology class. We have completed post-fertilization events such as endosperm formation and zygote development. Zygote develops into embryo and endosperm is going to nourish the embryo. Now the next change which happens after fertilization is formation of seed and fruit. We know that the seed is covered by the fruit, right? The seed is covered by the fruit. What is the function of this one? Within this seed there will be our embryo and endosperm is going to nourish this embryo. The function of seed and fruit is to protect and disperse, protect the embryo and disperse it from one place to another. So what is fruit? Is the ripened ovary or else it is a fertilized ovary. Now wall of the ovary forms a fleshy wall. We call it as pericarp. That means this much is termed as pericarp. Now pericarp is divided into three further layers which are the epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. If you look at this image, these three layers together termed as pericarp. Now pericarp consists of the outermost layer called exocarp, this middle fleshy layer we call it as mesocarp, and the innermost layer just covering this seed. So this much is the seed, right? Covering the seed, this layer is termed as endocarp. Now these three layers together form the pericarp. So you can understand now, this is the female reproductive complete pistil, right? This is actually the pistil. Now where will be all the structure? Now this much is going to convert into this one. We know that this layer is termed as ovary. This ovary is going to become this much fruit part, or else we can say pericarp, right? And what about inside this one? This one is going to be the seed, this one. So we can say ovary is going to become fruit. How many, what we call for fruit? Pericarp, which consists of these three layers. And what about this ovule? Ovule is going to become seed. That means if you look at this particular diagram, this much area, this outer green color, whatever it is here, what we can see, that is going to become the, that is ovary, right? This is actually the ovary. This is going to become the fruit. What is there inside the ovary? This much is going to become the seed. So we can say the ovule is going to become the seed. In another way we can say that ovary protect the ovule. That once it convert, fruit protects the seed. So there will be, what will be there in the seed? Within the seed there will be endosperm will be there, zygote which has now become the embryo. Just you can connect these two diagrams. So in another way we can say that after post fertilization events, this much portion is going to become this one. That means seed as well as the fruit. Now if you look at inside, if this much area, if we want to see in terms of embryo sac, do you remember that embryo sac? So you can understand this one, this much area, this bright green color structure is actually our embryo. What the embryo consists of? There will be plumule which is going to become shoot, radicle is going to become root, and cotyledon which is also acting as the food for future embryo. Once this endosperm, so this area whatever you can see, this is going to be the endosperm. Now if you look at, if you can compare these two diagrams, understand this one. So within the ovary this structure will be there, right? Now this endosperm is going to multiply and is going to become the complete endosperm, that is food which is stored for the developing embryo. We have studied types of endosperm development, right? Which are they? Free nuclear were there, cellular endosperm was there, halobial there. After that what happens? This single cell is going to divide and it is many we are going to get many endosperm cell. What is the function? To nourish this developing embryo. So simultaneously what actually happening? Zygote develops to form embryo. Embryo keeps dividing. We will see cluster of cells. And what about this one? That is also going to develop. Now what happens is that this embryo is nourished by endosperm. Once the endosperm finishes, the plant or the seed is going to utilize this cotyledon as the food. So endosperm is also going to be used as food. Cotyledon is also going to be used as food. But primarily endosperm is nourished. So if we compare these three diagrams at a time, how can we understand? Right? Now, this much is the complete female reproductive structure, right? Within this one, we will see these type of development. Now this entire structure is going to become this much seed. So we can say that this much things you can place within this one. Now what will be there surrounded to this one? There will be this ovary, right? The ovary will be there, stigma, style, all those things will be there, right? Now this much area we call it as the ovary, right? That is going to be this much area. So please understand, if we want to compare these three diagrams together, this is before development, this is after development, and this complete structure is going to become the seed, that is here. Now surrounded to this structure there will be this ovary. The ovary is going to become this particular fruit. So ovule is going to become seed, ovary become fruit. Ripened ovules are known as seed, right? Now integuments of the ovule form seed coat, outer integuments form the testa, and tegmen develops from the inner integument. I'll tell you what are those. So when we have made these structure, if you remember this one, when we have made this ovule and embryo sac together, this outer layer and there was one more layer, and we called, then in the center there will be the embryo sac, right? The embryo sac will be coming and protected by this integument. This outer integument is going to become a layer, we call it as testa, and this inner integument is going to be tegmen. And what about this one? This is going to become the seed. Now when we look at the seed, see, suppose if this is a seed, this seed has two covering. Which are they? There will be one covering, right? There will be this particular covering. This covering is termed as tegmen, and surrounded to tegmen there will be one more protective layer. This which I have drawn, this red color, this is actually the testa. So testa plus tegmen. Testa is outer one, tegmen is the inner one. So from where the testa is formed? From the outer integument of the ovule, right? And tegmen, see, this complete structure is going to become the seed. So if this is the seed, these integument, that is the protective covering, is going to become seed coat. Now this testa plus tegmen is termed as seed coat. So what the seed coat is made up of? Outer testa and inner tegmen. So remember this fact. Ovule is going to become the seed. Ovule is protected by integuments. How many integuments are there? Outer and inner. So when the ovule become seed, the integuments or covering of the ovule supposed to become seed coat. Now seed coat is made up of two layers. These are testa and tegmen. Tegmen is the inner layer and testa is the outer layer. So from where? From where the tegmen is formed? From the inner integument, right? And testa is formed from the outer. Tegmen is from inner and testa is from outer integument. Sometimes what happens, there can be a third type of integument or aril is present in some cases. Like, these are actually exceptional cases, right? Now, in certain seeds like a castor and all, a spongy outgrowth is present near the micropyle. This is known as the caruncle. Now what is caruncle? See, suppose if this is a seed, just I am making a seed, right? If this is a micropylar region, we can see some kind of outgrowth. This outgrowth is termed as caruncle. In some seeds, what happens, there is an outer growth. This outer growth is termed as micropyle. At the micropyle we call it as caruncle. So what is the function of this caruncle? To absorb the water during seed germination, right? Sometime what happens, this is stored with rich food which can attract the pollinating agents such as ant and all, right? Pollinating, dispersal agents. Now funiculus forms the seed stalk and the stalk ultimately withers and leaves a minute scar called hilum. Do you remember what is funiculus? Funiculus is actually this stalk. Now if see, these are the integuments. So what happens to these integuments? These integuments are going to become the seed coat, and this complete structure is going to become the seed in future. Now what about this one? If this structure is going to become seed and this is going to become the stalk of the seed. Stalk of the seed. Now if you look at a seed, suppose any seed, let it be a pear or whatever it is, when you, this is the side view. If you look at the front, if this side, if you look at, you can see some kind of scars are there, right? These scars are actually hilum, right? So these scars which you can see, one is the opening of micropyle through which water enters, and another one is the hilum, right? See, if you look at any seed, you can see such scars. These scars are the hilum, which is visible from the front side of the seed, right? Now some facts are given here. Just you remember, the funicles form the seed stalk. So outer and inner integuments are going to become outer and inner seed coat. Ovule is becoming seed, ovary become fruit, funiculus become the seed stalk. The basic facts you must know. Now what about smallest seeds? These are found in orchids, and what is the size and all, everything is given. Since it is lightweight, we call it as dust seeds, and this is the lightest in the plant kingdom, and largest also in some kind of coconut it is there. Please, you don't need to remember this much clearly if you are not preparing for the competitive exams. At least you can remember this. Dust seeds are also there, or seeds can be as lighter as this much and as heavier as this also. Okay, these are some facts. You can even remember the same thing. Concluded weight is given before fertilization and after fertilization. Integuments are going to become seed coat. How many layers are there for seed coat? One is testa and another one is tegmen, right? Which one is outer? Testa is outer, tegmen is inner one. Why? Two, because normally the seeds are bitegmic, because normally the ovule which we are drawing is bitegmic, because two integuments are there. So we have two layers. Micropyle is going to become the seed pore through which water absorbs. When you soak the seed, through the seed pore water enters and it grows. When you grow this sprouts and all, you can see that the seeds absorb the water through the seed pore. Ovules are going to become seed, ovary become fruit, and wall of the ovary is going to become pericarp. How many layers are there? Exocarp, mesocarp and endocarp. This also we have seen, right? Depending upon the presence or absence of endosperm, the seeds are classified as follows. Now if you look at this image, right, if you look at this image, this is just a seed formation. Let me make you understand what happens once the seed develops, right? Now we know this is the endosperm, right, this much area, and this is the growing embryo. Now when this embryo grows further, two possibilities are there. Either this complete endosperm will be used up, or else what happens, some endosperm will remain. So two possibilities are there. The growing embryo either eats or feed this complete endosperm, which means in future there will not be any endosperm seen in the seed. Other possibility is that in some seeds what happens, there can be endosperm which will be left over, right? Based on that, it is divided into two. One is non-endospermic or ex-albuminous. Albumin we know, right? It's a food, a reserved food material here, right? Now non-endospermic means the food stored in endosperm is completely used up by the developing embryo. There is a situation there will be no more endosperm left. So you can see that this is actually the embryo. In the previous diagram I have shown somewhere endosperm was here in the top region, right? Now it is completely used by the embryo. So what will be there? There will not be any endosperm left. Non-endospermic, from the name also it is clear that no more endosperm left. So the food stored in endosperm is completely used up by the developing embryo. Example is gram, pea, bean, orchid. So there can be a question, give example of or differentiate between endospermic or non-endospermic with the help of examples. Now endospermic or albuminous. So here it is clear that endosperm grows vigorously and is not completely used up by the developing embryo. So in this case what happens? Cotyledons are very thin. Now we have seen that in two types we have seen, right? Dicot and monocot. In both, see, just you can connect this way, there is endosperm. In both the cases it is there, right? In case of dicot also it is there, in case of monocot is also there. In dicot seed, majority of the case what happens, this endosperm may be completely used up, right? Now in case of that is not in every cases, just you understand. Here a monocot is given the example. So in this what happens, endosperm remain there. Why? Because we know that the cotyledon which is formed is very thin. If endosperm is also finished, the cotyledon is also finished, what happens? There will not be sufficient food for the growing embryo. So if complete endosperm is used up, what will happen? Later this growing embryo will be nourished by cotyledon. So first endosperm will be used, later cotyledon is going to feed the growing embryo. But in this case what happens? Endosperm keeps growing. Why? The cotyledon is thin. You remember we have studied the scutellum. Here the thin paper like cotyledon is there. If endosperm finishes, cotyledon do not have such a reserved food material. As a result, this may lead to the death, means this may not lead to the development of this particular embryo. So in case of endospermic or albuminous, the endosperm grows vigorously and is not used up completely by the developing embryo. Right? Why? Because the cotyledons are thin. So endosperm must multiply, right? So if you look here, you can see there will be embryo which is growing and the endosperm which is left over. So this is going to be what type of seed? Endospermic seed, because endosperm left there. Examples you have to remember, right? At least 2-3 examples you can remember. So here we have given a comparison of non-endospermic as well as the endospermic seed. So this color, let me use another color right now. See, this is the endosperm, right, which we have drawn in this particular color. If you look at these two cases, what happened? Only in this diagram endosperm is left. So this is going to be the endospermic, and here you see, can you see any color in this diagram? No. So this is going to be non-endospermic. Remaining everything will be there, right? Cotyledon will be there in both the case here, but the cotyledon is termed as scutellum. Why? Because it is thin. Endosperm, whatever is there, will be transferred to the cotyledon. Cotyledon will transfer to the embryo. So in this diagram, this much is the embryo. In this diagram, this is the embryo. Embryo consists of plumule and radicle. This is going to become the shoot, and this is going to become the root system. So hope you have understood what is the difference between endospermic and non-endospermic. So this is the endosperm which will be left in case of endospermic seed. Why? Because the endosperm keep dividing. What about non-endospermic? Since the division of endosperm is less, it will be used up by the embryo, and after some time what happens? Once the endosperm get over, this embryo will be nourished by the cotyledon. What are the importance of seed? The importance of seed, evolutionary achievement is there. That means normally it protect the embryo. There are many seeds which are viable since long time. Suppose, see, long time back if the seeds are there, normally it cannot be destroyed such a faster rate. So it will help us to study the evolution of some kind of plants. Now seeds have sufficient food reserve that nourishes the germinating embryo. This we know. Seeds can colonize, populate new areas and spread and propagate its species because of the dispersal. If there is no seed, this plant generation cannot be transferred from one place to another. So there should, if the plant should be dispersed from one place to another, there should be seeds so that it will help in the mechanism of dispersal. That is the reason some plants are visible in different parts, right? Because seeds are dispersed. It can be dispersed by some birds, right? Or it can be dispersed by the water. What is dispersal? Traveling from one place to another. Being products of sexual reproduction, seeds have number of variation. Variation helps in the adaptation to varied environment, right? Because it is after sexual reproduction. Now germination and sowing of the seeds by human gave rise to agriculture, right? Which means seeds are a part of civilization as well as science and technology, right? You must be knowing there is development of YV seeds, right? High yielding variety seeds and all. Green revolution and all you might have studied in your junior classes, right? Or else we will study in coming chapters. Now, seed viability. What is seed viability? It is the period of time for which the seeds retain ability to germinate. Even in your kitchen there must be many seeds, right? When it is kept in the bottle, it do not grow. Even after many years, if you soak it for some time and if you plant it, it is going to become a complete plant. That ability of a seed to remain in a germinating capacity, we call it as viability. How long a seed can be living, right? We call it as, that means during this period, anytime you plant it, it will germinate or grow. Seed viability is determined genetically as well as environmentally. Now, which means there are some ability, some are genetically, some seeds are able to grow, some are based on the surrounding climate what we are giving. That's why genetical ability is there, environmental ability is there. Environmental condition which can alter viability are humidity and temperature. If proper humidity, temperature, everything is there, then only germination will be possible. Now some facts are given there. It's not that important, but for your reference you can read, right? Genetically, the viability ranges from a few days, one season, 2 to 5 years, or can be 100 years. Some seeds are viable. Now some seeds were found which are 1000 years old seeds were found, then 2000 years old seeds were found. Not only the seeds were found, if it is planted, it can grow as a plant. And this fact is very interesting. See, 1000 years old seeds of lupine or lupins, we can say that this is excavated from the Arctic region. Now what happened, this is when it is planted, it produced plant that later flowered also. So understand, around 1000 years old it was when it is found. These seeds are planted and later it become a complete plant, and it is later gave some flowers also, right? Now viability of the seed is tested by, this is very important, sometime you can get this question in MCQ. How can we test a seed is viable? By means of its respiration, or else it shows some kind of growth. Two way you can understand the seed is viable or not. Either it show respiration or else it will show some kind of growth or germination. Now this is the last slide of this particular session. So here I have drawn one ovule, and here is a complete flower. Just sorry for the poor drawing, but adjust with, right? So this is before fertilization, this is after fertilization. What happens to calyx, corolla, androecium, style and stigma? So this is the calyx which consists of sepal, this is the corolla, and androecium is the male portion, and this is the stigma, and this stalk is the style. All these structures are going to wither off. Wither off means it will fall off or it will dry, right? Now what happens to the ovary? That means this structure which is here, ovary is going to become fruit. Wall of the ovary is going to become pericarp. We know how many layers are there, right? Exocarp, mesocarp and endocarp. Ovule is going to become seed. What about integuments? Integuments are going to become seed coats. These are of two types, right? Two layers are there. One is testa and the inner one is tegmen. Outer integument is the testa, inner integument is the tegmen. Micropyle is going to remain as micropyle. Later it is going to become the pore of the seed, right? Funicle is going to become stalk of the seed. Nucellus is going to become perisperm. You know what? See, these are the outer and inner integument. This is the ovule going to become the seed, and whatever is there outside is going to become the fruit. Now this area we call it as nucellus, right? Now this nucellus actually, which was acting as the food for the embryo sac, if it remain, we call it as perisperm. It is a nutritious tissue, right? So if the nucellus, if you have studied the structure of this embryo sac or structure of the ovule, you know that there was reserved food material in the beginning stage, we call it as nucellus, that is going to become perisperm. So you must know the difference between perisperm and pericarp. Perisperm normally remain in a dry situation, right? In a dry situation, and pericarp is normally fleshy. Pericarp is a part of fruit, but nucellus remain. Nucellus once form the perisperm, it remain attached to the seed coat. right? Or else we can say that this nourishes the seed, we can say, which will remain. See, suppose if this is the seed, closer to the seed this will be there, right? After the seed coat, this particular perisperm will be there. Perisperm is formed from nucellus, pericarp is formed from the ovary wall. Egg is going to become zygote, zygote is later become the embryo. What about synergids? Synergids are going to disintegrate and disappear. We know, right, what are synergids? Surrounded by these zygote, means this particular egg cell there were synergid. What about antipodals? They will also disappear. Endosperm, primary endosperm nucleus is going to become a complete developed endosperm, right? Hope this particular portion was clear. Thank you for watching.